We're very delighted to have our guest speaker come from one of the beautiful countries of the world in South Africa. And our guest speaker today is Yonela Motloung. And Yonela is the president of the Central Centurion Toastmasters Club in South Africa. And it was crowned the top club in South Africa for 2019-20. She works in the marketing for a global company or having great interest in entrepreneurship. She's currently the resident host of the eHub, Entrepreneurial Hub, which is focused on driving entrepreneurship in Africa. She has a passion for people development and seeing people succeed in all spheres of life. She has just started her career coaching company called Coach Yonela. Please welcome Yonela Motloung with a speech entitled, "It's Not a Must." It's not a must, Yonela.
Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and a warm South African Merry Christmas to each and every one of you. Wow, I was so excited when I was invited to this club because, well, it is having something that's quite unique. The ability to unite the world by bringing people from different walks of life and the world to come together in one space and be able to learn and grow from each other. Well, I hope that you've had a great Christmas. Yes, it is not today, it was 2 days back, but I hope that you had a beautiful one. I actually did have a great one myself. I spent it with family, and something interesting happened. A friend and a colleague of mine actually got their baby boy on the 25th of December. Now, for any one of you who is here today, you will know that that is totally special because, well, the 25th of December is such a great day and it is celebrated worldwide. And for a baby to arrive on that day as a parent, you feel so excited. And as she told us this news, I began thinking about just the whole idea of coming into the world as a human being, the expectations you have, everything that comes with it. And that got me thinking quite a bit on this topic. There's two significant things about entering the world. And one is that a child comes empty-handed, at least physically. So they come with no clothes on, with nothing held in their hands and nothing that you can see and be able to say, oh, Yonela came with this and that. But what's interesting is that everything that a child would later have in life is all contained in their minds and in their hearts. So while they may not have it physically as they arrive in the world, they still have the seed that would enable them to have what they want to have later in life. Now, I want to ask you a question, and I would like you to respond by the little reactions that are on your screen. How many of us here have been through school? So you've gone to school, you've had some form of education. Please just show me a sure or a yay or a heart if you so wish, just to let me know that you've actually been to school. Okay, that's a relief. I'm happy you guys have been to school. Now, one thing, I have also gone to school, by the way, and one thing that was interesting in my years in school was the expectation that comes with holding certain qualities or abilities. So if you were a child that is smart in the classroom, come the day where the class has to select a class leader, almost automatically everyone thinks that you would make the best leader. If you were the child that was most confident and talked much in class, automatically people think, oh yes, you will be the right spokesperson. If you are a great person, kind, humbled, the world tends to think that, oh well, all the good things should come your way. I grew up in a very protective environment here in South Africa, with a family that was largely Christian and believed in God. And what that taught me was that everything would most likely go according to plan. So I thought I had the formula of life. Simple, really simple. Be a good person, work hard, focus on your dreams, and then everything is just going to work out. So I had a couple of plans and ideas of how my life would take shape. So by the age of 24, I had a dream and expectation of being married and getting married, right? And this actually happened. And I thought, yay, what are people complaining about? Life is simple. Then by the age of 26, I wanted to have a child, my first child. And actually, I did have not just one child, but twins. Come on, this is even better. Instead of having one, I've got two at the age that I expected to have children. What are people complaining about? And I had a dream to have a career in marketing. And I saw myself in these big stages presenting, and I always loved presenting and talking in front of people. And so that too, in my mind, was supposed to go according to plan. As I began to build my career, I realized that just because I had a dream of being a person that's great in marketing, just because I was brought up in this protective environment, just because I was a nice person, I'd like to believe, it did not automatically mean that it was a must for me to have a great career. And at that point, things began to go south, I would say, where things were not necessarily going according to plan. And I thought to myself, but what happened to the formula that I thought I had figured out? And that the career bit was the beginning of this huge lesson that life would teach me. And other things in my life began to almost take different detours. And I realized that the journey was not as simple. See, the world gives us this expectation of plant a seed, be this great person, and automatically things are going to come your way and life is going to work out. And we tend to think it is a must. It is a must that everything must work out because I work hard. See, what I've come to learn is that it is not always the case. If anything has taught us that, at least 2020 is one of those. But then you ask yourself, well, Yonela, if it is not a must for me to be successful because I'm smart, if it is not a must for me to become the next great leader because I get great grades at school, if it is not a must for me to be the next parliamentarian just because I was a great speaker at school, then what is it? What's the must then that must happen? There's a couple of things that I've come to learn which are quite important, and I think this is just 3 of many other things that you may have realized in your life as you grow to see that it is at least a must to do A, B, C, and D. Now, what I've come to learn is that the next 3 things that I will talk about are very important, and they are a must that you use them to develop yourself, to enable you to get to your goals, because without putting the effort in them, it becomes difficult to realize your dreams, and then you start to ask yourself, what is wrong with me, or what is wrong with this world? One is communication and developing communication and great communication skills. Communication is quite interesting, right? Because as a child, you grow up, right? And you hear people talking and the language they use and how they speak in the house. And you then start to use that as a way of communicating. And often we think this must be simple, right? Why do I even need to go to school to learn communication? Because this is something that I grew up seeing all around me. But you see, what is in your head, which by communicating, you're trying to translate out to the people, it's not always easy to communicate if you learn more about it. If you start to dig deep into the idea of communication, it is not just about speaking or saying something, but it is about building the confidence to be able to eloquently express what it is that you want to say and not lose lose what you wanted to say if someone is not receiving it positively, but being able to still change around what you were saying in order to still deliver it. And most of you are here today because you're part of Toastmasters, and you probably have realized that communication skills and building that skill is quite important. But I want to ask you, what other platforms are you part of which are helping you to develop communication skills? How do you communicate to your partner, to your children, to your colleagues? Are you challenging yourself to get better every day and not necessarily just meet as often as we meet here in this platform, but actually find more and more opportunities in order to sharpen the skill of communication and being able to really speak your mind? In my job, I sit in boardrooms, and sometimes it is intimidating to be around the people that I'm around, and I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, I have an idea. I think I know how to solve this, but do I have enough confidence to say it? Do I have enough intelligence at that point on the spot to deliver what it is that I want to say? The second thing I want to bring to our attention, which is a must for each of us to develop, it is leadership. And you see, leadership is interesting because most of us think, well, we just want to lead a team. We want the title. It is nice to be called the president of a club. It is nice to be called the manager, you name it. But in reality, leadership starts with oneself. We've got to be able to master self-leadership before we can even begin to lead our families, our children, our groups that we're part of. And often we lose that. We want to jump to the bigger things, and we forget that the small little things of being clear of the vision of where you want to go as an individual, what you want to become, what your dreams are, and how you're going to get to those dreams is just as important as being able to lead a company. I'm trying to be very provocative today, so I want to ask you a question again. Are you clear of where you're going? 2020 has come and shown us that, you know what, planning is not necessarily the way to go here. Things can go south any day. Now, have you asked yourself, if something like that happened in the next year, how are you going to still pull through? What leadership styles are you going to bring to the fore so that you still remain on top? See, the world is not just going to pick you and say, oh, Francisca, you look pretty. We're just going to give you this. No, it is going to be through this kind of platforms like Toastmasters and other avenues which we should be searching for, which are going to help us to develop the skills that will help us to stand and be great even in times of adversity. And the last one that I want to bring to our attention is ownership. Because you know what? As I learned early on in my life, is that you plan, you work hard, and you do all of these things, but sometimes life just happens and things don't always work according to plan. And ownership is all about being able to own your mistakes, own your decisions, own the corrective action that is then required when things do not work out. We live in a world where people want to find the next person as the reason why things did not work out, or look in the outside, or question the next person, but why didn't you do A, B, C, and D? Hence, this has happened. But ownership is about knowing that you are at the center of it all. Yes, you came with nothing to the world, but guess what? You still have the mind, the heart, which are the tools that will help you to be able to change it all around. So it is really all in your hands at the end of the day. During COVID times, all we're being told in the news by our president is that, well, it is in your hands, literally, because you have to wash your hands, right, for at least 20 seconds. And then you mustn't use your hands to touch your face and your nose and your eyes to avoid infection of COVID. So it is all in your hands. How you then make life work out as you would wish to have it work out really, at the end of the day, it is all in our hands. See, if someone came to me today and said, Yonela, I would like you to please give me some water, I guarantee you, unless I have water in my hand, I will never be able to pour into that person's cup. Never. Impossible. You cannot give what you don't have. You cannot take from a place that's empty and be able to say, I'm going to give to the world. And it's interesting. And, you know, in the world of social media, you see Andrew, you see someone posting something great, and you think, why is it not me? Why is it not me? Guess what? The world owes us nothing. The world owes us nothing. And it is up to us to take the necessary steps and action to build ourselves up, to enable ourselves to do what we want. And the reality is that it is not always going to go according to plan. And that's okay. That's okay. That's part of the journey. We need to take it, we need to own it, and we need to just keep on going. Communication, leadership, ownership are some of the three things that I believe will be the best gift that we could give ourselves. Christmas is a season to give, right? And a lot of us who are subscribing to the Christian belief and any other belief, we believe that we were given something, which is the Son, Jesus Christ, in order for us to celebrate. Now, I want to turn it around and say, what gift have you given yourself in order to celebrate Christmas? And you know what? The greatest gifts are not physical, are not things that money will buy and you can touch. And that's why we actually celebrate childbirth, because as much as a child comes empty-handed, we believe so much in what they have in here and in here that we celebrate childbirth so much. And so what gift have you given yourself, apart from what you have bought, apart from what family has purchased for you? But what is it that you will say, I want to invest in myself as a celebration of Christmas of 2020, as well as the year has been, but I want to celebrate me and get a gift for me that is going to carry me through the years to come. Well, in conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, we come empty-handed to this world, and so it is not a must for the world to give us anything. And do not ever make that mistake. But guess what? The great part is everything that you need to make this world to be a great place, to have the money, the cars, the houses, everything that makes life flashy and beautiful, it is all in your hands. Madam Deiche, over to you.